Good night and welcome to Mindful Live 360. Full circle, yo. 360 Mindful Live. It is the 7th of March in the year 2024. Thank you for being here. I'm your host, Nathan Springer. It is Thursday. And on a Thursday, what we do is we talk. Whatever the discussion is on the chat, whatever the discussion is in the comments, that's what we talk about. Feel free to give a comment, give a question, let me know what you think, and we'll discuss it. You can feel free also to join in over on TikTok. You can actually join in and let yourself be heard. Talk, actually talk. We'll talk, not face to face, but you know what I mean. Online to online. Feel free to join. So once you are looking at this, do hit that like button, double tap the screen over there on Instagram. That's how you hit the like button there. Looking at this on repeat over on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button over there. Be sure to subscribe if you are not yet subscribed to Nathan Springer over on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe there. We currently have a bit of an upgrade over there. You'd notice if you're looking at this on YouTube, the quality of the camera over there should be of a much more exquisite level. Onward and upward. So we have that upgrade for the YouTube viewers over there. Although, sometimes the YouTubers can complain that, they're left languishing. Nobody reads what they're saying over there. But don't worry, you are just as important, YouTube. You are just as important. What's up to TAT? That's the Telecommunications Authority. What's with them? I don't know what we're talking about with them. All right, people. What's on your mind? What's on your mind, folks? We're talking about nothing tonight. No thoughts tonight. We're just here staring at each other for a bit. TAT and the intent to remove Trinidad from the airwaves. Well, I saw people talking about that, and I think it's a horrible idea. I don't think that the solution to some of those things is that kind of forced cultural move. And I think it would be hypocritical even to do that. Like, what are you saying? Only songs that are positive morally should be played on the radio stations? Is it that's the case that exists right now? Is it that's the case that's what exists right now? That only moral music plays on the radio as it is? Because I don't think that's the case. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's the case. And if that's not the case, it's Rashorty's song. A mango don't make a fig. A monkey don't make a pig. You sow seeds of darkness, now you're reaping wickedness. And you see a lot of that in our culture. I mean, you have these young people living in violence for years, and then you're surprised that the art they create is soaked in blood. Like, why are you surprised by that? That's to me, the cart is before the horse there. I would be very angry if I was trapped in a violent cycle and you made it that I cannot sing about what I'm trapped in, but I am still trapped in that. Like, no. There have been violence for thousands of years before music. It's human nature. Yeah. And I don't believe that the violence is caused by the music. That is most certainly not the case. Now, the music might help to spur on or be a good background sound for the level of violence that exists, but they're not it's not like they're independent of each other and the music just blossomed there and created this violence. No. And beside that, I also think it won't work, because as many people have pointed out, Trinidad music did not become popular because the radio stations played it. The radio station started playing Trinidad music because it became popular. This music became popular online in the first place, online and sending over phones. So, okay, you could ban it from the radio airwaves. How many young people sit down listening to Red 96.7 whole day anyway? Radio is a dying thing anyway. So, okay, fine, ban the music that the younger people listen to and hasten the death of the radio. How many young people listen to radio? That's where they hear all of the most current hits, all of these Zesta tunes, all of the Trinidad tunes, they hear it from radio first. Like, I mean, it's easy to go on YouTube and look up the views that these fellas getting on YouTube. Go look up the views on Rifle War. These fellas have millions of views. Those views don't come from the radio, you know. Those aren't radio station plays they're checking. So, like, banning it for what? For what? What is that going to do? Maybe start attempting to use the songs in your investigations. But to me, even in the gang warfare in Trinidad and Tobago, it seems like the police don't even need more information. When someone dies, you could hear the whole story unravel. The police look like they have more than enough information. There seems to be some kind of disconnect between the legal framework and the police and what they're doing. Either the police are so corrupt they have no interest in stopping anything, or the legal framework is making it impossible for them to go further, because the police know it all. The police know who all the killers are. The police know who killed who, why they killed them, when they killed them, which one was the shooter, which one ordered the shot. They know all of that. Ask an officer, they will tell you the entire rundown. So, yet the part that we vex about is the person singing about it. Like, by all means, sing about it. Let us at least find out in hindsight, and you could give a testimony of your willingness and your own position that you played, or your own part that you played in a crime. Violence always comes from greed and inequality, not music. I think violence comes from human nature. As you said before, I think it comes from human nature. Many things could cause violence. Jealousy, people say violence is not the solution, violence is never the solution. That's not true. And on occasion, it might even be the solution. Who knows? But it is a solution. And for people who run out of options, violence is oftentimes the easiest solution that they come to. Violence is the most basic solution available to mankind. The more intelligent you are, the more complicated your societies become. The solutions that become available to you become a bit more nuanced and expanded. So in a complicated, developed Western society, as an intelligent person with access to resources, part of your solutions might be in the legal framework. You get a lawyer, etc., etc. Who knows? Your solution might be vengeance over the long term. You're poisoning somebody. Your solution might be success. Who knows what your solution might be? But violence, especially for someone who sees themselves as not being able to find other options, violence is a solution available, and it's the one that many use. If I'm trapped, I don't want to be trapped, and I don't know any other way to get out. Well, fists. We'll reach down to fists. If I want money and I don't want to go through any more difficult way of getting money, well, fists. We'll reach down to fists, to violence. It's one thing to know, but another to prove it. To prove what? Yeah, people, it's Thursday. Kareem Del Pesh over on YouTube says not enough where they can stop it. From what I've heard about Jamaica, they don't play dancehall on the radio, but it hasn't stopped the music from being popular. I once saw an interview where Bounty Killer, I believe, was saying that very same thing. He was making the point that they weren't popularized from the radio. When they were singing their gutter tunes, it wasn't the radio they came up from. Underground music doesn't come out of the radio. These guys could be playing in events all year, basically touring without ever playing a radio show. And here's the thing. I don't think I am for TAT banning this, where the telecommunications authority, like government level, is banning this. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it would work. I think it sets a bad precedent. We don't want something like that from the government level. But however, we are a more free market country. We are not a communist country, mostly. Our radio stations are private companies. These radio stations can play what they decide to play. No one is swinging them and telling them you must play Trinidad music. So it's not that the telecommunications authority needs to stop them, but you would hope that radio station owners in this country would understand that, okay, we wouldn't get public appeal to playing this kind of music over mass media. So it's not the radio station's fault, it's not the telecommunications authority fault, it's the listener's fault. Enough listeners are okay with listening to that music being played on the radio station, so the radio station plays it. As simple as that. To me, the solution to the radio station playing it is the radio station. That's where that solution comes from. The radio station has to stop it, not the government. We don't need the government to do that. But I saw Port of Spain listed as one of the most dangerous cities in the world. Is it really that bad? Well, the truth is, with many dangerous places in the world, and including in Trinidad, it's not that the entire thing might be dangerous. So, not Trinidad and a whole, but specifically Port of Spain. Well, here's the thing. When someone says Port of Spain, they may be speaking about a wider region than you may be thinking. They may be speaking Port of Spain and environs. And if you include basically from Barataria all the way to Diego Martin inside of that Port of Spain and environs region, that is a very dangerous place if you look at it as if it's one block of place. But for us in Trinidad who understand the actual geography, you'd understand that the entire region isn't dangerous. All of the streets aren't dangerous, but there are specific places that are extremely dangerous, while there are other places not that dangerous. But I mean, Port of Spain had 2 murders on Charlotte Street basically within a couple days of each other. That's a dangerous city. Murders in downtown in daytime, well, one wasn't in daytime, but a murder in peak hours daytime on one of the busiest bargain streets, come on. That's a dangerous city. If we're being honest, it's a very dangerous city. Most advanced nations go to war to solve problems. True. Clinton Foundation stealing Haiti. Well, it's not only the Clintons. It looks like everyone had their hands in the Haiti jar, including many Haitians themselves. So it's not all outsiders. But yes. I mean, there's a reputation with that organization and that family that some people who speak against them to vocally find a strange way of coming to their own demise, where, you know, sometimes they off themselves by double tapping themselves 2 times with a weapon in the back of their head. Amazing way this self self-deletion happens when you tangle with the Clintons, yeah? Can't Haitians be allowed to live in France? I am 100% certain there are a considerable number of Haitians in France. There are Haitians all around the world. But Haitians being allowed to live elsewhere isn't necessarily a solution that helps Haiti. That's draining Haiti for the most part. That does, I mean, you help people to leave the difficult place, but the place itself remains difficult. It's not like that's a solution for the place. A solution for the place is a different thing. Yeah, people. What's going on? What's on your mind? What are the questions or comments on the inside? Anyone wants to jump in and have a talk? It's Thursday. Hey, I see in the politics over here we have fight for who is going to be the second person in the opposition alliance. The alliance is barely even formed and they're already fighting for position in the alliance. Good evening, Dane Khan. You need a closing. I'd have to hear the entirety of the thing to give a closing to it, so I don't know. If you wanna come and give a preview. Yo, positive. Yeah, let me hear your question. No, you. Avesh Liam Sarabjit says he has a question. What's your question, bro?
Even though I also do a little bit of buffing, I felt proud. I don't know she complained to you, but I will feel very proud tomorrow. I mean, I'm Sud Iron. I've done polished on my boots already. So I'm looking forward for Rudy to make me proud. I'll send you the link tomorrow, so you need to take some time.
Of course.
Listen to Miss Rooney World tomorrow.
Of course.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Everyone.
Good evening.
Alright, so let me ask you this in your respectful view. It's opinionated.
Yeah.
Do you believe that countries that have younger political leaders, younger presidents, younger prime ministers are more connected to the societal needs of their respective countries, as opposed to elderly, more generic persons? I mean, geriatric. I should say geriatric. Sons who are disconnected because of the fact that they are from a different bygone era in terms of their technological development. You taking somebody from the 1960s to try to put them in front of a computer doesn't really make sense to me. So, because they will not understand. In the same manner, my nephew can unlock my phone, that biometric lock and a pattern, how to unlock my phone. And me with my big self wondering how this child who's 4 years old doing it. So you understand where I'm coming from with my question. My question is this. Is it that, do you think it's a good idea to have leaders that are more connected to the society in terms of the way they approach their economic standings, the way they approach problems, as opposed to someone from a bygone?
I agree with your statement that you want a leader that is more connected to his society or her society. Fact. 100%. Now, it's a different assumption to assume that a young person is automatically going to be more connected to their society. I do not hold that as a given assumption. I just don't. Because I don't see the evidence for that. What there is evidence for is that the young people would be more connected to the young people. And the young people are the majority of the users of social media. So a young leader is going to be connected to the majority of the users of social media. So most younger leaders oftentimes have vocal support on social media. So it could seem like the society is more supportive of them and they're more connected with the society. But bear in mind, a society isn't made up of only people between the ages of 15 and 40. There are many other people in a society. There are people from the ages of 40 to 90 to 100, even older than that. There are children under the age of 15. So it's not just running a society for the 15 to 40 age group. It's running a society for everyone. And there is an argument. I could understand the argument that some might say that if I were to choose a bracket in my family, I have the grandfather of my family, I have the father, I have the son, I have the grandson. And if I were to choose one of them who would have the best interest of all of them most soundly at heart, there's an argument that that person might very well be the grandfather. And if I were to put someone in a overall leadership position where they have to look at the big picture, it might make the most sense that I put the grandfather. That's not to say that the grandfather is supposed to be, but in the overall overseer position with the big picture in mind, I could understand the argument that the old person might be better. This is not even the argument that I am saying here. I am just saying I could understand that argument.
So technically what you're saying is that in reference to what you are saying, the older person may have a bigger picture, but they would be on a better route to guide as opposed to taking charge in terms of the authority and making that decision. They would be there for referencing in terms of guidance.
But
okay, I understand.
Yes, but the that position is actually the decision-making position. You want that, if you're choosing someone in that, you want that oldest person as the final say-so. It's like you conservatism versus liberal progressivism, those arguments, right versus left. You actually in a society want someone in the ultimate leadership position who is more of a conservative mind, who is more of a pull up the handbrakes, hold on, let's see. Because running a society is a delicate thing. You don't want to just enact grand changes like that. History tells us that's the way you crash your society and end up with lots of dead people very quickly. So you could understand you want somebody to slow down more. But that process is supposed to be a pull and tug. It's not supposed to be that the elderly are pulling up the handbrakes and nothing new gets to pass. Neither is it supposed to be that the young are attempting to change everything every day. It's a kind of dance where the young are attempting to change as much as they think is best, while the elderly attempt to stop them when they don't think it's best. But in a position like that, the person that actually needs the leadership position is the elderly, not the young who keeps proposing new ideas. You actually need the elderly to be the leadership position, who is actually the choke point, choking off the bad ideas, hopefully. Mm-hmm.
I just came home from a village council meeting for all the village councils interview. And to my bewilderment, you guys are you had village council president who clearly in the 60s and 70s and he's saying that they had a problem viewing a PowerPoint presentation and they wanted it in a book. And they only been able to use an email. And we don't have email, and why are you sending email to we? And why the constitution PDF print a booklet and give us. So I could agree with the statements being made by my colleague just below. So we had to figure out how we have both of us or and the young participate in the process.
Here's an interesting thing. I think it's a TikTok video I saw this in, and it sent me down a kind of rabbit hole, reading and all of that, that was highlighting that millennials, me, 30 to 40 generally, are much more computer literate than Gen Z. A lot of Gen Z are able to use apps, but they don't really understand how to use computers. That's why this assumption that young people are automatically going to be better at these things isn't necessarily true. Like, I think millennials are by leaps and bounds better at general computer use than Gen Z, and they are the younger generation.
Yeah, that's true. That's no lie. That's true.
Those younger...
Millennials, I have seen, I am a millennial and I can tell you, some of the Gen Z, I am shocked. Yes, they know things, but they don't know things too at the same time. Some of them are real good, I don't get me wrong. Our friends, very, very innovative. They like to do their research, they're well into tech work. And some again just, oh God, boy. God, boy, is the one that is surviving.
Yeah. In Gen Z, well, apathy is a problem in Gen Z where it's a very low motivation generation. I blame COVID for a lot of that also. But even beside the low motivation side, it's because of just how they grew up. When we millennials were coming up, our games, if you are a gamer, well, when Tanticam shared the laptops and all of that for the tail end of people, and people who were growing up in PC gaming, you had to be able to kind of edit computer stuff. You had to be a bit of a computer technician to install the game, and you ain't paying for any original game out there. So it's... Alright, bro. It's still a parang ringtone here, isn't it? Parang anytime. You parang, bro. But yeah, that show off my whole train of thought in it. The younger generation, they lack that. With our generation, you had to be able to kind of know your way around computers just to be able to install a game. You know your way around the C drive and where to go into the program files and da. You know you're not downloading any original games, so you have to know how to crack it and put the crack in the right directory and all of that. Many of this young generation, they say, many of them don't even understand how to rename files. They don't know about changing file names. Right click new folder, name it games folder, and put all your games inside there. And for the naughty ones hiding other things than games inside some of those folders, the younger generation, they don't know about that. They have an app for it all. One to that is that they lose the ability to maneuver through tech. They don't understand how the tech works. They just understand using a graphic user interface. They understand the interface, but they don't understand the actual technicalities behind it, which makes them very gullible, easy to fool, easy to trick, and not that easy to maneuver. Like if something new comes out and they need to change, they don't maneuver easy.
That could be said. Anyway, I don't like to talk about. I don't really tech like that. I'm not a tech person. I studied geography just so I wouldn't have to do IT. I regret that because I hated geography anyway.
We do not stand geography slander on the Mindful Life.
Geography is a fake science. It's a bootleg science.
When you're looking for links,
Down with geography.
So Ronnie, you don't want to reach where you going. You don't believe in directions.
I reach by the ice wall.
No, you don't even go down that road, please. You see, if people didn't hate on geography, we wouldn't have had this problem. We wouldn't have had this problem all about the place with all these clowns talking nonsense if people picked up and studied the geography book.
I didn't like it, and I still don't think the earth flat. I never did. Actually, that's a weird concept.
I want to ask a controversial question.
Of course.
Do you think the gender gap still exists in Trinidad and Tobago? And why you believe the gender gap still exists or doesn't exist?
Yes, it does exist. And I think it would always exist. And I think it should exist. Because people don't, like, there's a gender gap, there's an age gap, there might be a race gap too. The gaps exist because different groups of people make different choices. There's a gender gap in my household because I don't get pregnant. I don't nurse my child. So I'm the one that generally is working when those things are happening. So I would make more if you're just checking cash contribution. So of course there's going to be a gender gap and it should exist. You shouldn't be trying to eliminate that on forceful means because it's there for a reason.
I would disagree.
But what if you were told, for example, I mean, let's share new knowledge, just fresh to me, that men make more investment and more to take riskier investment so they get a larger return. However, if you women that invest, make better investments than the men.
Well, that would make sense. That would make a lot of sense that fewer women would have a consistently better average than the majority of men, but there are a tiny group of men who would be raking in nearly all of it. That's just how it goes, and that's the distribution of nearly everything in the world. And women are generally more cautious in how they go at things, so they generally don't get the same amount of reward because they don't put out the same amount of risk, but they generally don't lose as much. They don't lose as much. It's like if someone goes into gambling cautiously, all right, well, they may not lose the entire $100 they went in with. They may not gain anything, but they may only lose $10. If people go in recklessly willing to bet hard, they may lose the 100 plus another couple hundred they borrow, or they may win a couple $1,000. It's the risky way. And so if you then take all, you add up all of them, and you find the two men who risked it all and got the biggest bets, and they got 100,000 each. So you look at all the men and say all the men got 200,000. And then you look at all the women, and of the 100 women, all of them bet safe. So, all of them went in with their $100 and left around with their same $100, give or take a little. So the average is 100. And all of the 100 women put together only get 10,000. So you look at all the men put together and it's 200,000. All the women put together and it's 10,000. And you look at all the men and say, well, it's unfair. The men make more than the women. Not understanding that the vast majority of men went home with nothing. Two men went home with 100,000 each. Every woman went back home with the same 100. Who had it better? Like, better is a strange thing there. That's not how life works like that. And it's unfair then for you to watch with your less risk-taking self and envy the rewards of the people who took bigger risks.
If you were asked, or do you think that our government should invest more finances or financially into women, female-led businesses? If yes, why? If no, why? That's my last question.
No. I don't believe so. And I was asking this yesterday. I don't understand where this is coming from. If you look at the universities, women are far out applying men to university. They are out graduating men in universities at basically all levels of universities. From millennials go down in terms of age groups because millennial women aren't having the babies. They're looking to be cat women out there. Millennials go down, are out earning men. The women are out earning men because a major problem, as I was talking about, a major reason that women earned less than men was because they left the career field to, make children, populate the earth, important things. But Now with more women staying in the career field, they're out earning men. They're out earning men. They're out educating men. They're out living men. Men are the victims of violent crime more. Men are victims of loneliness more. Men are self-harming and self-deleting more. Then tell me, why would you as a government, as a state, invest more in women only? That doesn't make sense. Like, for me, I'm not even saying invest more in men only. I'm saying don't invest in them as a gendered thing like that. I think that's a bad idea. I think it's a biased and unfair idea. I don't think it helps, and I think it hinders the economic benefit in our society. If a man is the person who is best able to run whatever entrepreneurial area this is, and your only aim as a society is to make it that only women are incentivized to do it, you aren't getting the best out of your economy. You are incentivizing the second best to be the top. That's not what you want. You want to incentivize the best to be the top. So I think continually just investing in women like that is an unwise thing. And I also think it's a plot of the United Nations led kind of neo-colonialist people who think the world is overpopulated and they want women to make less children too. So they are purposefully attempting to invest not in educating women for making them to make them more uplifted in society, but no, making them better worker bees to work for their corporations and take them out of the families, because families break up the ability of states and governments to control everyone. RL says the only money the government need to invest is to subsidize gasoline again, nothing else. I feel you, bro. I feel you. That gas price gives me pain too, constantly. Roni, any change of view on what I said there?
Actually, today I have myself in a real predicament, right? To end this debate. Because while I am against the notion of it, I kind of realize I shouldn't be on any side of it. I should be outside. Because the honest truth is, the way they want it to be argued, to still be like, one kind of vibe, I don't really agree with it at all. Because even if you're saying, because what some points who don't invest the money in women, but invest it in things that would benefit well, not everybody, but like just, I don't know, poor people, I guess, people who can't afford to be babysitters and
But
childcare and all of these things. I was like,
right, finish, sorry.
Why should the state do that? Like, and have some young lady who just left UTT Valsy into a current who could open a daycare. And she wouldn't be able to open that daycare because the government put their hands in it and people could send their children there for free. So she can't make no money. And it's like, baby boy. And even if, so you're investing in women. When I'm making the money, but you're gonna tax the woman to invest in more women. So what? I was just there like, wow.
That's exactly it. That's exactly what you said. Exactly what I was going to say. Why is there an assumption that the government needs to spend money? The government doesn't make money. This is like if you have a nephew or a niece, some single-digit little child out there, one of those little beggars that run about the place, and they're talking about spending money, and they're discussing with you, I feel my friend Bobby and Jaden, I feel I want to give them $100 each per week, just for being my friends now. They are some nice people. There are some nice fellas in Bobby and Jaden, so I feel I go and give them $100 per week. And you're there thinking to yourself, but wait, little Johnny, you works nowhere, you draws no pay. What are you talking about your generosity to your friends? The government doesn't make money. The government is not a money-making business. What are you talking about where we should spend money? Let's have a discussion on where the government should spend an extra $10 billion. But all you don't make $10 billion. You all don't make 10 billion. You all make nothing. So all the money that you're spending is money that you're taking from me. So here is this. Here is this. You don't take money from me, and I don't take money from you, and we call that even. Forget all the investment. Forget all of that. We'll call it even. No one takes from anyone, and we'll call that even right at that point there. We're good there. RL boy, go for your food card now. And you know, Rooney, that idea that you're talking about there, if in the discussion you bring that up to a large contingent of especially Trinidadians, you may sound like you're cussing them or speaking a foreign language, you know. Like, what do you mean the government spend less money? What? Government spend less? No!
But I try my best to not be controversial too much, especially because it's like oh gosh, my heart skip a beat today listening to one of the speakers, like one of the girls, and she was on my side, right? Because in one of her points, she had brought up the autonomy thing, right? And I was just like, gosh, what am I doing here? I was like, my goodness. So I went through my speech and I kind of like tried to push out as much Trinidad. So like, I moved everything I was saying like Trinidad and Tobago, because I was like, you know, Trinidad and Tobago. And Trinidadians are usually like that, right? Every single time we talk, we would say Trinidad and Tobago. But Tobago is quite different. They kind of do the Tobago thing, right? If you look, I always do this. When I go to a grocery and I see a product made in Tobago, look at it. You will see it. The address for it being made is something wherever Tobago. But if you look at a product made in Trinidad, it will say, well, should go on a Trinidad and Tobago. That kind of way. So I just kind of like went through my speech and kind of took out as much Trinidad as I could, and just kind of just said we a lot. We
just try to be inclusive. I love this.
Oh. Well done, Rooney. Well done. And they make you edit your speech out there. Rooney, your entry into politics is showing that you have a talent for this. You have a talent for this, you know. You know where to put in the pronouns instead of the proper nouns. Important thing. We, us. Inclusive.
As you rightly said, government doesn't make any money. So are we putting out there in terms of trade to the international arena? Are we putting anything out there? Do we have any investments out there that we could, tangible investments that we could look at oil and gas or anything like that in the international markets? In terms of trade, are we doing anything? I don't think so. All we're doing is what? LNG, CNG?
We have trade, you know. We have trade otherwise, and it's just a bit floundering, and it seems sometimes like the government doesn't focus a whole great deal on it. But Trinidad, for example, is a manufacturing powerhouse in the Caribbean. Like that video that went viral a couple weeks ago where Jamaicans were suddenly recognizing that almost all of their snacks were made in Trinidad and Tobago. And that's a truth. We make a lot of the snacks for a lot of the Caribbean and the wider region. Associated brands, Sunshine Snacks. We have some manufacturing here, and that's an export good. Part of the problem, I think, is we fell in agriculture. I think we were I know we were once much stronger in agriculture, and I'm talking even beside the government side of this, beside Carney 1975 and all of that. I'm talking just general agriculture. We were much more we're much stronger and more robust in it, but fewer people go into that. I was speaking last night and I was saying I think that's was that last night or night before. I think that's more of a choice problem, an interest issue where fewer young people are interested. I find of probably the last 3 years or so, I have seen a bit of a shift where more young people and more people in general seem to have woken up to the understanding that agriculture is important, and I do see more of that, and I hope much more people go into this. It's not really a government problem, in my understanding. The agricultural issue is not really a government problem in terms of incentive. The government has lots of incentive to go into agriculture. The main problems I see in agriculture would be pretty larceny, theft. Them bandits, them different out there when it comes to your goods. Well, that is the main issue, theft. The main issue is theft. Besides that, agriculture is not difficult to get into in Trinidad.
I'm not going to lie to you. So, like, I'm not going to say this. My father, we have some pollock avocados next door. The property is mine. And I catch a pipe out of the tree. One morning when I lance that mother sucker 3 foot. Because here what? What you doing on my zabuka? What you doing on my zabuka tree? Why are you on my tree 1 o'clock in the morning? I'm mining my zabuka. My zabuka is the size of 2-liter bottles. Why are you on my tree?
2-liter bottles? All that is zabuka?
Yes. It's a good pollock. The nice bottleneck. Big ones. I don't sleep in the night when I know my tree flowers are it bare. Because seriously, we have some characters in the area while I sleep and you on my tree. My father going in the camp and he come back and we catch this man on the tree 1 o'clock in the morning. And I hit him 1 lance in the foot, but the man is a cocaine, so he ain't feel nothing. That lance gone through that foot normal. You call the police. Mr. Ryan, you call the police, we are no vehicle. I call St. Madeleine police station and they never reach. 2 years later, they never come.
So you told them that you lanced the man through his foot? You mentioned that there's a man bleeding there would be a man bleeding at the bottom of the tree?
Because they don't reach. I said I'm a man on a tree and it looked like he get choked with a rod. You feel like would I tell them a man bleeding out of my tree for them to come to what? 1,000,001 questions and hold me?
So you tell them it looked like a rod choke him. A man in my tree, it looked like a rod probably choke him, eh?
All they want the police. I was in national security. All they want the police to come. Tell them a man bleeding out of the ground in front of your house. Because you're fast to go reach. They go get a vehicle.
That's true.
If you tell them you hold down 2 bandits in your yard, they may freaking come and tell them you shoot them. They go reach.
That's true. They have to kind of,
Oh god. But
I was not going to tell nobody that I lanced him on tree.
as I was saying though, that is the problem in Trinidad and Tobago, theft. That's the main problem with agriculture in Trinidad. Like to even get access to state land. To get access to state land isn't that difficult.
It is easy. It is so easy. Nathan, you go to the Commission of State Lands, you must be at okay, I used to work TCP, the Town and Country Planning Division, so I can tell you go to the Commission of State Lands. He's on a Wednesday's public day in Palms Club San Fernando. Wednesday's general public day within the ministry, and you can meet with him, put forward your claim, and he will give you some kind of redress on the matter.
I remember I was telling someone this a couple nights ago. They were saying that they were talking like, there's no way to do this and in Trinidad, this and in Trinidad. And many people cried on Trinidad and even cried on our government unduly, our governments unduly, because sometimes they're ignorant about what there is. If you're in agriculture, trust me, there's a lot of incentive for agriculture, lots of it. And I think that's where we need to go to a lot more. We need to return to a pretty strong agricultural foundation also, because feeding the people is a key part of all of this. Yeah, Ronnie?
But what you need to do is to re-implement the central board where they regulate the price of goods and commodities in terms of agriculture. I can remember my father telling me that in the 1980s, when you are selling ginger, they buy ginger at a standard price. Your quality is up to standard. They paying you $15 across the board. So it's not like your neighbor selling for 18 and you selling for 20 and the one down the road selling for 14. There's a general price that they buy from you and they redistribute to the groceries or the supermarkets and stuff like that. They need to re-implement that. That would mean that everybody across the board gets the value for their produce. And they would up the standard.
I think that would have been something that had more use, especially like in the in the 80s and before, where communication technology wasn't at the point it currently is. For me, I kind of like the idea of a more independent market-based pricing, because you have enough information to know where the variance in pricing is. And if someone is able to bring forth their produce at a lower price such that they could sell it at a lower price, then they should be rewarded more for that. And if someone is inefficient in how they plant, and because of that they must sell their produce at a more expensive price, then they should not be rewarded for that. The pricing in the market is rewarding people for good market behavior. And I kind of like that idea. I like the idea that the guy who does better gets more. Standardized pricing can kind of work. To me, standardized pricing would work, as I said, in previous times where information was a bit harder to come about, so it would have been easier for price gouging to happen unbeknownst. And then I could see standardized pricing in like Tobago, where you have a government, a state-controlled exporter, and they're looking to buy everything from local producers, not to sell among the local market, but to sell as a single foreign product. And then that makes perfect sense. If it's one product that you're exporting, fine.
Right. That would have been good. That could work for things like banana, ginger, pineapple. You know, we have a lot of banana, we have ginger, we have a lot of cocoa, coffee, pineapple. Actually, recently I was in Arima and I managed to in San Rafael and some Arima.
My hometown, boy.
Explain that in Santa Rosa and San Rafael. I managed to see the head office for the cocoa and coffee distributors or exporters or whatever you want to call it. I can't remember the name, but I managed to see that it up and running. But a continent table and all is coffee is a big thing for him. He has his own dry house where he does dry the cocoa and export. I think we could really get back into something like that. If we get back into things like that, I think life would be easier if we could feed ourselves.
I do think so. And as I said, I think the main issue with that is getting younger generations actually interested in it, getting people wanting to do it. And as I said, I find there seems to be the interest seems to be on the upswing from 2000, probably from the 90s all the way to 2020 even. The interest in agriculture in each progressing generation was going down. People in the 90s, if your family was in agriculture, the last thing you wanted to do was get dirt under your fingernails. You want to go in the city and wear your Van Heusen fitted too. You want to do that. All this dirty stuff and hot sun, I know. Until some people now are realizing, wait. And this is why some of those government jobs probably shouldn't get a raise. Let them still stay on low pay in the public service, because people would recognize, wait, I work in public service, going in town every day in all this traffic, scraping up $6,000-$8,000 barely, while I could plant something, and if my crop comes good, I could get 30,000 in a lump sum just right there in my hand. Pow! Okay, the business in this is starting to make sense. And I think if you could make it more attractive to younger generations and allow more people to enter it, we would get that.
as you rightly said, Nathan, the issue is pretty alarming because while you are home in your house in the night, you have these creatures on them in the back of your house, thieving your shit. If you're going straight in fish hook and you put down fish hook, they go to the hospital with fish hook through their foot, you know. I mean, okay, I'm gonna say ideas that I had because seriously, I tell you, I put fish hook around the shit in some country and the man still pass through it and go on the tree.
You gotta learn to them.
I was just going to talk about the homestead program. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Just I've seen a lot of young people involved in it. I have a few friends that have done it. I couldn't do it because it's a full-time something, which meant I would have to give up my job. Which
Business, talk with me. I'm interested.
they I don't know when they're taking in again the homestead program. So we're going on. You had to do it's either a year or two of some agricultural something. I don't know if it's just UTT because my friends who do it is in UTT, but
No, it's not just UTT.
oh, so it's UB and UTT.
No, I don't think you need to be a student even to get
No,
through.
no, you have to a school to do.
Oh, well,
something
yeah.
or something.
You have to go to a school, yeah.
Yeah. When you enroll in the steadfast program, you school for either a year or two, and then when you graduate, they give you state land for you to plant your thing. So,
And listen, we had things like that in Trinidad before, you know. I don't know if you all know Carson Field, the base. You all know Waller Field. Many of those places, they gave those people land to do agriculture. The people have 3 cows and just living, barely smoking a little weed here and barely subsisting. Well, not everybody, but some people, that's what they do with it. So it's not just a problem of availability. It's people have to want to actually do it, and these things take work. If somebody doesn't want to do the work, then it's not going to get done.
I'll put this out earlier, right? As we are in this discussion. Did you know that the farmers, the dairy farmers in Trinidad, are subsidized by Nestle because of the fact that Nestle gives them the raw materials to feed the cows, and in turn they also pay them for milk. I was told, hey, I know I shouldn't be talking that, but they just get incentives from Nestle because they want to mainstream the health and well-being of the cows for the milk that the cows produce that Nestle buys from the farmers. So, I mean, it's really interesting to know that it has so much opportunities in terms of dairy farming and stuff. But as I say, back to this last thing, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and listen.
I can't be planting 2 acres of cassava
Is-
and have people my shit.
Lastly is not only in crops. I plant a bit, but I want to mine animal. I have some chickens, but the chickens, I could only keep them close to my home. I want to actually be able to get a larger scale amount of animals going. But animals are for sure the attraction of the pest bandits. Let a goat only dare bleat out in the loneliness there, they go on with your goat. People stealing cows. People stealing whole cows. Your whole dairy cow gone. Your dairy cow gone and somebody sell it for meat. You have some years in dairy still inside of your cow. Somebody bust your cow throat and it's beef somewhere. This is
For the TV on me, you make them meat. Apply for your firearms license.
and that's the thing. Under Tanti Erla and Mr. Hines and Dr. Rowley, those people do not want you with any kind of weapon to protect yourself. And the Predia Lasny squad has what, 3? They have 3 vans that they need to use around the whole country. The Predia Lasny is woefully underfunded and under-equipped.
Get me, the politicians don't want you protecting yourself, but the pests in society have the guns,
Of
they
course.
have the ammunition. So you're telling me bandit breaking into my place have more rights than me, the citizen who living in my house trying to defend my life and my family. You know what? Let me say it on. We on that platform. I'm gonna say it. I have a thing called a chop. So once I bust you up, I alligator do identify meat and where it come from, you know. And we have plenty caimans in the country. You can bust up that body like as a wild animal and carry it and dispose of it. And that's all I say.
The views expressed on Mindful Live are not necessarily the views of the host, Nathan Springer. I'd just like to point that out. That these are the views of the panel that choose to discuss. They are not necessarily my views. But yes, I have heard that there are many ways to dispose. In what's the Dog Island or whatever it is down the sea that's there that causing some bacchanal now. They say on the island they find a whole set of well, not a whole set, but some remains, and then they add to it that is the spot frequented by the pigs. And I always see those beta man sealats pigs, you know. Those pigs are always cruising up and down the highway. So are you telling me that those pigs are round and healthy from human meat?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that no, I'm not inciting. I will say this, Nathan. I'm not inciting violence on your life. I apologize. I do apologize. Saying is that I do not want that people. Okay, let me give you a story. So we are now watching. Now people is park up in front of me to go by the minimart, which is 2 houses down. So I don't mind you park up. But you park up and 3 hours sit down in the car inside my house. Inside, but if I tell you how me and my brother and my father, all are we as a junior auditor at the South Hunters Association. We wake whole night. We want the fun of it was to wake to see if these stupid people taking God out of all their minds and come back in my place. Seriously. Yeah, it comes down to that. You are in your house and you had a free live. Nah.
I always this is a topic I almost always talk about, where I hate the idea that you could be in your house and you hear somebody say that they're planning to do something, or you hear somebody break into your house and you just have to sit there and watch them do what they must do because you aren't allowed to protect yourself. You hear somebody knocking outside and your dog barking and you looking to find a bed to hide underneath and crawl underneath or something ridiculous like that. I don't like that. I don't like that idea. I think that's rubbish.
It's bullshit. Because you coming into my place and if I chop you or blood is spilled, I hit you with a piece of pipe and you start to bleed, the police charging me because the person has a laceration. They're doing my place in the first place.
The thing is though, that's where Tanti Cams was talking about with the stand your ground law to help to protect people that protect themselves. But really actually in Trinidad generally that one isn't too much of a problem. If you hit somebody a piece of pipe and break their leg when they break into your yard in Trinidad, nearly no police ever charges you. That happens very regularly. I mean, someone, I'm not saying who, but once upon a time, at a point in time when I was doing a live show, someone in the live show spoke about stabbing someone in their foot, lancing them through their foot, and nothing happened to this person. So, you know, you understand that in Trinidad and Tobago, generally speaking, if you harm somebody on your property, the police, generally speaking, don't do you anything for that. When last you hear somebody even kill somebody in their property and they're in trouble in Trinidad and Tobago? That's not something the single entrepreneurial badman bandit out there anymore. These are gangsters. They're moving in the same car that they're doing their drive-by in. A carload of 5 of them are jumping your wall and they're all armed. What am I going to do there? Pelt big stone? No, I need something that propels solid material at an extremely rapid rate. That's what I need. Because that's what they have.
Yeah, exactly. Fight fire.
And reload, Ronnie. Empty the clip and reload it. Knock it.
Vision, nothing. I just be marking my cameras. Kill first win, yes? Oh God. That means somehow playing Call of Duty. Watch. I can bet money trick what we on this live. Let's play Call of Duty.
And that, to me, I always say this. I want that. I want when a bandit jump a wall, he always have in the back of his mind that the back of his mind could get blown out. That must be preeminently on. That anytime a light turn on here, this owner coming out with a pipe and they go in and start a Lego. Like, if that's the... You look at the bandits and the home invasions in Trinidad and Tobago and you understand that these bandits are not afraid of the of the homeowners. Like, how you mean you stop outside, slap up somebody's grandfather and shove them inside the house where you know everybody inside the house is there? You could only know that because you know everybody inside the house could have nothing. How you could be banging outside my door, sawing my burglar proof with a hacksaw blade? Everybody knows I'm going to wake up, but you aren't worried about me waking up, because what am I going to do? Call the police and they don't have a vehicle? I have time to get at him. Like, bro, that's nonsense. Yeah. Annoyed me when Dr. Rowley spoke about it, because he lied. He said that in the United States they have this and they're trying to get rid of it. That's not true. In the US, more and more states are moving closer and closer to what they call constitutional carry. In other words, you could just go buy a gun and strap it on anytime, anyhow. And the idea with that, when you look at the statistics, they have statistics coming out more and more now because more states recently have started doing that. And as states do it, of course, they become safer. An armed society is a polite society. Now, obviously, you are going, and I said this before many times, you are going to see an increase in certain kind of things. That, okay, when neighbors fall out now, if they are overly arrogant, it may reach to a point that nobody wants it to reach to. Let's say now, though, that we could have in Trinidad 50 neighbors per year, 50 of the most arrogant neighbors per year kill each other, but none of the other murders happen. Would you be okay with that? And that's the thing. Yeah, Ronnie, go ahead.
No, I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh.
In regard to this, or you don't know, if Kamala says she bringing guns, X by the rising sun, bye-bye.
No, but wheels do. I think that's the mindset of criminals, know that everybody have a beast. Excuse me, go change their behavior.
Yeah.
Just knowing business I walk into, the man have guns below the desk by the cash register, and you have been trained to empty it and they're not fearful to let go. I think that alone is gonna help mentally, because a lot of these gunmen afraid to death. They be real.
A lot of them don't have to fear. They don't have to fear death because nobody's gonna kill them. Me and you, we don't have no guns.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, if somebody breaks into your house and I'm asking a question,
Mm-hmm.
you have an unlicensed gun, right? And somebody breaks into your house and you kill them. So, like, isn't there like some kind of, you can defend yourself and whatever means you use to defend yourself is okay? And that's like some law.
Well,
Dream that.
Well, what may happen, you have to get a very good lawyer, so probably look for Annan. But what may happen, what very likely may happen is you wouldn't be charged with murder. So you may get away from a murder, but the illegal gun charge will still be coming your way.
I don't think that was 10 years or 4 years or something like that.
$30,000.
$30,000? That's less than a gun.
Listen, y'all think I'm joking. I have read, y'all don't listen to the live or what? I have read article after article after article that's showing men getting held with illegal guns and getting $30,000, $20,000, $15,000 fines where they have to pay it or face 6 months in prison. That's the punishment.
6 months, rent free, food, 3 square meals.
Let me pull up one of y'all. Go ahead. I'm gonna look for one of these articles. Y'all think I'm joking?
Right? If you were to actually off somebody on your team, illegal, right? How they gonna determine it's yours? By the time the investigating officer, reach, wipe your prints and you put the person who you kill fingerprints on it, and your statement going to.
Oh, you mean you do the same thing the police do?
I know this man brandishing a weapon and in self-defense.
You mean you do the same thing the police do?
The weapon from the said individual, and I managed to defend my life. That's all you can say.
Yeah, that's all that given. Says once he don't have a gun, he didn't shoot you too, because then that could be a bit, complicated. But I mean, if the person come there without a gun and you kill them, you just blame them and be like, oh, this was their gun. I'm sorry, everybody, for all the bad advice.
Look, let me just jump in the first one I saw. Quick, right here. $30,000 fine for Valencia man held with gun ammo. Police said a 28-year-old man who pleaded guilty to firearm and ammunition charges yesterday at the Sangre Grande Magistrates Court was fined $30,000. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service said the firearm and ammunition have been ordered to be destroyed. The man, a laborer of Iman Lane, Valencia, was arrested and charged on June 23rd with possession of a Taurus 38 Special, possession of 4 live rounds, and 1 spent 38 ammunition, and possession of 7 rounds of 38 Special ammunition. The Valencia Special Operations Unit and was given 18 months to pay the fine.
So he got time to pay it, and he'll be free.
But what you mean he get time? If he get 18 months to pay $30,000. Listen, even if you're a kind of broke person, if your life depended on it, you could get $30,000 in 18 months. Come on, that's a year and a half. You gain that.
Yeah, but upon that, when you think the police them going to destroy that gun, they seize it. You think them really going to destroy it? Let me be.
Well, that gun is to put on somebody. No, that gun is to put on some. They have to have burners. You ever notice they always finding some random gun on somebody? Like on the Dust Boss guy that was killed, they found a revolver. Strange. These guys out here are real riflemen, but when they face a whole team of police, they find a po revolver. Where they have to plow. Sure. These guys, the reputation of these guys is they're out here murdering, rampaging with AR-15s. You're telling me that they wanted to take out the police. They were on a mission to take out the police. And they have access to AR-15s and AK-47s. And they choose the revolver.
Yeah,
Yeah, doctor.
That is one of the most reliable weapons you'll ever use in your life.
I'm sure of that, Dr. Real. But that's for people, that's for adults who thinking like that. You're telling me these men are gangsters. These men have never committed a murder on record with a revolver. All a 5.56. Well, with TTR signs on them occasionally.
I mean, a 5.56 or 7.62 rounds, yeah. But the reality is, a revolver is one shot, one kill. And a revolver is when you want to get up close and personal. The plug.
Right, and you have no shells, you have no shell casings to.
Weapon has no stoppage.
Yes.
No kind of stoppage. You will never see anybody do a stoppage drill with a revolver. Revolvers do not have stoppage. Pistols have stoppage all the time. Revolvers don't. So if you didn't know that, now you know.
Yes.
The one who gets caught with the spent shell, you know why he gets caught with the spent shell? Because the spent shell is remaining in the barrel.
Yeah, but that's the point I was making. This guy was caught with a gun with a spent shell, which suggests that at least he fired the weapon.
Somebody or something, yeah.
And $30,000. Listen. When I saw this, I was like, isn't this telling people? Isn't this incentivizing people to go out there and get the illegal firearm?
The question is who we kill.
And
Now, there are certain types of ammo that are untraceable. So there are certain types of ammo, and that is why you will find that there are weapons. Okay, so if you purchase a firearm legally, that firearm has a code. So they take the gun to the armory and they test it. So they know exactly what marks you leave on your spent shell. So they know that that gun belongs to Nathan Springer because it has these particular groupings of marks on the spent shell. So when you shoot someone, it's the spent shell. That's why they say you can police your wrongs. If you police your shells, it means you're picking up your shells. What you don't have to do with a revolver is you could go and kill a man, you could hit him 6 shots to the head, and you don't have to worry about policing picking up no shells. So it's one of the most reliable weapons you will ever use in your life. Carry on having that. Avish, sorry.
Dr. Real, my question to you is this: Are we still sending our ballistics to FAU, Atlantic University, for ballistics testing? Why don't we have a ballistics lab in Trinidad? And if we did have our own ballistics lab in Trinidad, a lot of police would get locked up because they don't know their guns.
Well,
that's neither here nor there because I'll tell you something. There's a way to conceal. You just need to change the barrel in the weapon. Anyway, I'm saying this on an open live and I probably shouldn't. The trick is you just need to change the barrel in your weapon to be able to fire off a shot that is untraceable.
but these fellas aren't worried about people tracing their weapons, really, you know.
We know that, but I'm just saying. If we lend in an air to the theory that a police officer rents out his gun, all you need to do is exchange the barrel and the weapon, and the grouping will be different. The marks and the shell will be totally different.
Like for me, I on that theory, I would think that was probably in the 2000s more. I don't actually think that these bad men of modern times need to rent police guns. I just don't think that's a popular thing anymore. Yeah, we have more than enough guns right now and more than enough ammunition. They aren't begging. What's that?
I say guns coming every day.
Yeah.
I don't any Mecca, so.
You watch that. You watch.
Let me tell you, the preferred weapon of choice with our Venezuelan is a knife. The real life knife. They
train in hand to hand combat, you see. We don't know is that every Venezuelan that is over 18, 9 out of 10 of them would have passed through the army.
Yeah, I know that because we worked. Some of them that work with me, I talked to them and they tell you that they were what's the name? I forget the name of it. They tell you that they were there and when they train and like they're federalists, is it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and then you train under the civilian Guardia Nacional.
Yeah, Guardia Nacional. That's the one.
So once you train with the National Guard, you get some kind of defensive training. Not like Trinidad, whole society docile in that sense. Everybody, as a teenager, it becomes mandatory that they go and serve their country for 2 years. Like in other countries, you hear that it's mandatory that they have to serve for 2 years. Like in Vietnam and Korea and stuff, they have to serve. It is mandatory. So
if the barrels come out with a flathead screwdriver, listen, any weapon could be dismantled with your hand. You don't need a tool. Dismantle any gun. There's no firearm that is created under the sun that you need a tool to open the weapon. You just need a tool to open gas chamber. That's the part of the weapon that where the hammer, the cocks and the part of the weapon that actually possess the that sends the gunpowder forward.
Position of the chamber and the barrel, you're gonna need that, yes, but the other parts, no, you don't need that flathead screwdriver. You know what? I don't think we should be conversing this kind of thing on this thing. I don't.
We. Who-
I can take any pistol apart. If I've never seen it in my life, I can still take it apart. You just need to know where the locking pin is. That's all you need to know. Where the locking pin is, and that's it. Once you're pushing that with your thumb finger,
Yeah.
weapon in the right position. Somebody slide forward, somebody slide in the middle.
Like, yeah. I have. I'm sure that's not really what most of the social media sites are worried about, though. Explaining how to open or unlock something like that. And but as I say,
Are they like vanilla ice kiss cake or chocolate ice kiss cake? Let me check.
I'm much more of a chocolate cake fan myself.
This man saying that like it's
terrible.
funny life.
My chocolate, this tastes so dry. Kiss chocolate.
You gonna try to send that person like, why you even bringing that up?
I tried.
Some of us counting our calories here.
Wait. You know that a kiss goodie only has 200 calories. If you're doing the calorie diet, right? A goodie is this like.
Yeah, but 200 that little, yeah, it's too small.
Plenty. If you compare that Twinkie, you get through. I saying now, boy. Like plenty calories still though.
Yeah, because you ain't getting nothing from that.
How much calories?
I don't be checking calories. Whatever go down the hatch, go down the hatch.
Yeah, why study?
why
But
is-
now, what calories this man, I pump about 10 in it. I studied.
I base my diet on 2,000
If you had
or
eat
2,500
calories for
calories.
the day, because I'm taking out every single one.
Anyway,
I went to study.
I am going to bed. Later on, I will send you the thing because I still have not done my
The closing.
But I would like to see, like probably 2014 or so, when I was just out of school, a lot of young people would say, oh, I'm gonna get pepper spray, and if they charge me, that's okay. At least I'll be safe. I just would like to leave that there with you guys. Go out there and get your.
You could make your own pepper spray though.
Yeah, you can make pepper spray.
We're not talking about pepper
Yeah.
spray.
Yeah, me. You could make your own pepper spray.
But yeah, Ronnie, I get you. Pepper spray.
Alright. Good night, you guys.
So
Next thing
Nathan,
you're
quick
talking.
question.
Yeah.
Quick question. I wanted to weigh in on the situation in Westmoreland. So me and tell me what do you think happened? But the West Shore owner was robbed and his car was taken away. What do you think about that situation?
I don't know.
Mr.
I don't know what to think, to be honest with you. When I, like, sometimes when I hear those kind of stories, I wonder I have is the chairman of West Shore Medical so easy to get to?
But that's what, right? You know what was my thought? Is he one of those people that say, oh my God, I don't like guns? Because I'm trying to figure out, like, dog, why you don't like guns?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Look at your status in society. You is the boss. You have in paper, have influence, you have power. Why you have a gun? Because if he had a gun and he was that vulnerable, they would have taken the gun from him.
yeah,
But nothing is mentioned about that. So these are the things that I wonder. If you have the, it come like my mom in Georgia. Mommy is be like, oh, I don't know firearm. When I went up there, I walk her into the gun shop and make she buy a shotgun and make she buy an AR and it's in the house. So I know when I jump on a plane, anytime I land, if I hear crick,
Monkey back
body's
dead.
gonna drop, right?
yeah.
But she don't want that personal. She could have a nice little revolver in she purse. She could have a snub nose in she purse. I don't know why she don't like guns. So I'm wondering if it's the same scenario with this dude.
Many of them.
Has he opportunity to procure one and doesn't want to because he don't like guns?
There are many people like that. Many people squeamish about guns. The truth is, many women are squeamish about guns like that too. As you talk about your mother, my mother, they even talk about guns with my mother and that. But the thing is, I wouldn't doubt it something like that because numerous times in Trinidad, you have heard attempts at home invasion where there was a licensed firearm holder and it didn't turn out well for the bandits.
Like the same way, Westmoreland area with the woman and her son. Remember, she shot one of them and she got shot. And his son lived.
Yeah.
Two of them get shot. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I was so proud of that woman. I vexed I didn't know energy funeral for me to go and kiss Shani Koff. Because she was a boss. No,
yeah.
She was a boss. She went out like a G.
And to me, that's what when and that's the reason I think people should be armed. I think someone in their home with their home advantage would nearly always win a battle like that. I remember sometime I'm watching a video, a uncle and his son or something, and they fighting the bandit because they right by the stairs kind of way, so they could kind of squeeze them and they pushing them down the stairs and trying to pull. Like, why you have to be doing all of this madness? Air them out and done. That's where it should be. You would know all the holes.
On 24 of us, the first thing you need to remember, right, in a home invasion is do not ever put on the lights.
Exactly. You know your house in the dark.
Breaking into your house, don't ever put on the light. Inside the house especially. If the person, if you put on the outside light and that doesn't scare them, take it off. Because you know your house, nobody knows your house better than you. And start arguing. You see that little small fridge I have by the door? If you come in my house, you're gonna eat that fridge. I have a little fridge by the door. That must weigh 20 pounds. You gonna eat that whole fridge. I started with that. I have a hammer right in the corner. I have a two-sided. I don't know what I have, but it's a real thing here now. Now they're gonna get into it. And for me,
My father, hunter, a full-time hunter. Every nook and cranny in this house has something. And he know where he put down his shit. We don't play. I just walk down in the dark to go downstairs, open up, because when I'm hungry, my brother lock up. Stairs, I don't go downstairs to get food. I will walk down the front step, open the door, not put on a shit and light because I know the kitchen. I know the house. You have to know your house better than the bandits.
yeah,
Yeah.
practice for them when they come.
And that's why for me, I kind of like the dark. When some people say they are afraid of the dark, in my own home, the dark doesn't bother me one bit. If something goes bump in the dark in my house, I would know more likely where it is. And I assure you, if you walk through this house in the dark, you go in and sprain your ankle, break your toe, something going. It's not very conducive. You're not going to get through.
My grandparents built the house. It's not level. It's not like a level playing field. You have steps to go down and come up. You have 2 steps down from the living room to the dining room, and 2 steps from the dining room up to the kitchen. And you're dead in the dark if you don't know where you're walking.
In Trinidad, well, that's where we reach right now in Trinidad. We have to build our houses with home invasions in mind. So you build it with little booby traps, a step where it's not supposed to be, a little indentation in the floor there to lose your footing. Hey, people, it's 11:22. Hey, 1122. I'm looking to dive out. Let me hear your closing comments there, Dr. Real and Avish.
Thank you for having me. Big fan. I watch your videos. Real big fan. I love your what's your word? Your use of the English language when you're making your videos.
Thank you, man.
Very, very captivating.
Appreciate it. Yeah, Dr. Real.
I wish I could have like me done with that, but I just get carried away with the dialect. Sometimes I can speak proper, but you see, articulation, the man real bad. My thing is, those on your life, never ever think that crime can't happen to you. Always be alert. Enter your car from your workplace. Check your it's far too often criminals pump on people who are not alert. You're leaving price, man. Don't take nothing to chance. Always look in the mirrors and make sure you're not being followed. If you feel like you're being followed, that's why the police station and pull up and always in. Everything cool, officers. You understand? At the end of the day, you can never be too careful, and I find too many silly acts of criminality happening because people are not paying attention. So I think we need a little more attention, because at the end of the day, we can see that the powers be don't care about we. That's the bottom line. So we are to care about ourselves, and we need to care about our fellow man.
True.
Exactly.
Exactly. All right, people, this has been the Mindful Live. It's Thursday. I'll see you guys again for the next Mindful Live, which is going to be tomorrow, Friday, around that 9:30 p.m. time. So tune in then, guys. I hope you're educated, informed, or entertained. I am Nathan Springer. Good night. I'm out. Peace. Be well.